Howdy y'all, Los here. It's time to build a bonsai paludarium, and I've been meaning to do it for some time. And we're gonna start that process today. It's not gonna be instant bonsai, as I've said before. So what I've done is I've obtained this tank, $10, pretty good deal for this. It also came with a pump and pump housing, all that stuff we ripped out. And I ripped off took off the front panel here, and I cut it rather crudely here. It cut pretty clean until about there, and it branched off, and I had to try to cut it again, try to break it off. It just wouldn't, and it's a little jagged, whatevs. But I siliconed it up, and I have a plan with some trim that will go across the whole bottom of this, which will totally cover that bad boy up, look really nice in the process. Let's get started with designing this. This is the hardest part because I don't know what we're gonna do yet. So let's just start placing the rocks in the container, thinking about what kind of water feature we have, where the bonsai is going to be. Let's just start doing that now. Time lapse. This part took the longest, just trying to decide where everything should go, and even when we had something down, it didn't seem right. And once I decided about something, I went ahead and used the expanded foam to lock in a few of these rocks to build this rock barrier between the aquarium and the terrarium that we're building here for this paludarium. Once I got everything put in place, I put these two rocks in and let them sit there for a second, and we worked with it, let it dry, and then I had that pump box built. That pump box was turned out to be too big, so I had to build a smaller one. I grabbed a masonry bit and drilled a hole in this limestone where I wanted to have my water feature. Meanwhile, I had something brewing for the LED lights there. 3D printers, you gotta love them. So I also had this stand, which I went ahead and spray painted. Once all the rocks were settled in, the pump was plumbed in, I wanted to do a water test to see how everything was going. I wasn't happy with the initial flow. It just wasn't coming out great. Wasn't happy with it at all. I tried putting rocks in places to help change it up if it could, but ultimately it did not work, and I wanted to get a bridge made between the two rocks that I had there, which I forgot to film, unfortunately. But I have to build this rock wall a little higher so that I can have a higher water level in this paludarium. So once I was able to get that rock wall built, I put in my lava rocks. This is my drainage layer and my screen. And then from there, we're gonna put our soil. This is a combination of aqua soil, akadama, sphagnum moss, and a little bit of compost. As you can see, it sits high above the water level, which is going to be beneficial so it doesn't sit in water all day. Added a lot more sphagnum moss to this bit. Time to put some sand down. So I thought I put too much of this sand initially, and once I put it around and added some water, I realized it was just enough. I just had to move it around to the right places there. Scoop it up, pull it to the back, get it away from the pump, and make sure the pump wasn't going to suck up any of that sand. I had a filter put in front of it. Throwing this water in there to help it a little bit. Check out this waterfall in 4K. I shoved some drainage screen into this hole so that I can fill it with a little aqua soil and some terrarium soil, so I can put a little bit of moss in there.
So this is a little microfiber cloth that will help wick up water for these moss so they don't dry up on this limestone. I'm really liking how this is progressing. There was a lot of negative space in this area, so I built this tiny box so we can plant stuff in it. That'll help fill it up a bit more. I put a rock under there to help support it. So here comes the aqua soil, and I filled this box up with just aqua soil and topped it off with lava. This is a pothos kind of plant. I'm not sure, like a lily. I'm not quite sure what it is. However, it grows pretty tall, so I'm going to place this in the back. Put a clump of them there. That should help fill in that negative space. And I'm going to top it off with some lava rock. That's going to be perfect substrate for that. And it looks a little bare, so I have this. I'm not quite sure what it is either, but it's got really thick leaves. Probably could stand not to be watered for a while, so that's going to be good. And that box is not sitting in water at all either. Maybe the very, very bottom of it is. So we'll top it off with some of this frog moss. Looking great. So I have a couple of these crypts that I'm throwing in here, burying in. Some of the leaves are a little too long, so I'll go ahead and trim those back. Placed a couple more in a couple more areas. And here it is, looking wonderful. I put a hygrometer back there so that we know what the humidity is over time, so that I can better gauge what kind of plants I can put in there. And it's definitely a tropical environment. So this is gonna be perfect for the next step, the bonsai. Meanwhile, let's just take a good look at all the hard work I put into this. All right, it's up and running and looking really great. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I put a bunch of aquatic plants in there, banana plants, some cryptos, some long horsehair looking stuff, some of this ball moss in there, a bunch of the floaty deals. And then now we're dealing with the bonsai. Now we have our bonsai all ready to go. It's going to be placed right in here. Now I just need to get the right substrate to put on top of it, work it in, and then we're going to put some other plants in there. And then it should be complete. We'll have to finish up our landscaping back here with these guys here. Then we'll be good to go. So let's get right to it. First step, I wanted to make sure it sat up high enough, so I put a little mound of what I have here. This is akadama and lava, perfect substrate for this tropical tree. And I put a little mound to help prop it up a bit. Went ahead and backfilled the lava rock and akadama mix. And the next step will be taking our chopstick and just making sure we fill in all the voids and getting all the roots in contact with the rocks. We don't want any sort of air pocket in there. And that's looking great.
First, let's get the springtails up in this mix here. Okay, next, I picked up some of this moss here. I wanted to see if it's any good. It looks really good. I mean, look at that moss. It's real moss. You just have to like rehydrate it, give it a good squeeze and let it fill up like a sponge, and look at that. Got even the spores on it and everything. So let's see, what do we do with this stuff? So I think we'll put some of this in the background. I hope I don't knock over my light again. As you can see, the bonsai paludarium is just about complete. There's just a few finishing touches. The light mount is being printed as we speak, and that's going to raise it up a little bit more and not give me such a 45-degree angle. I'm going to have it do a right angle up towards the light. But everything is looking great. We have our ficus in there. There's tons of moss. We're trying out this frog moss to see if that'll withstand being in one of these. All the aquatic plants that I've acquired the last couple months are in here. We're gonna let this settle. I'm gonna do a couple of aquarium tests to make sure the water is good. The pH is just perfect, and the hardness is just right. I'm using softened water, and I'm putting in some flourish nutrients for the plants. And we're going to see if this is all safe to start putting in some little creatures, and that'll complete the bonsai paludarium for now. But I'm happy with this progress, and it's presentable, at least for now. Thanks for watching. If you like our content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. We'll see you next time. Be cool, stay hip, get yourself a hobby. Bye.